The good thing about a game between two winless teams is no matter what happens, someone is closing out their weekend with something in the win column. The bad thing is someone will limp away with an 0-3 start to their season. For Beast Coast and Wildcard, it kind of feels less about who gets their first win and who makes sure that the first third of their stage doesn't start out as an abject failure. I'm Jacob, he's Jay's Wills, he is Foxay, and we now enter a situation with two teams who I think we had relative hype around them coming into the stage, haven't gotten a single point between the two of them. Someone has to get out of the slump today, and someone is going to stay in the trash can.
Harsh right off the top, abject failure, but you're right. I will say reluctantly that both of these two teams have not lived up to what we know they can be. I don't think it's a question of can they ever live up to that potential. They really seem like they can. The problem for Wildcard over these first two playdays is that it was a bit of deja vu. We said this yesterday, the same problems that plagued them on one map plague them on the next.
And for Beast Coast, we gave them a lot of hype. We said they have a lot of pieces of the puzzle. Best looking Beast Coast team yet. But they have not been able to put those puzzle pieces together, and they have looked very disjointed and sloppy so far.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if at this point my memory banks for history are failing me, but did the Mr. B Beast Coast teams at least have a win through their first two games? At this point, I wonder if they did, because this is not the way you want to start a stage.
Yeah, there was a Slash Hug Beast Coast team that got 5th, I think, at one point in the NAL when it was a LAN league, so.
Yeah, and they would have needed to have a harder start.
Yeah.
Just like of all the ways to start out a stage, this just isn't the way you want to do it. But someone gets out of the hole today. Let's start with how Beast Coast played. They had their first two matchups yesterday, but both of them were losses. A 4-7 loss to LG on Clubhouse and a 3-7 loss to OXG on Border. Again, brand new lineup, tons of experience, but yesterday for them had to have been a massive wake-up call.
Exactly. On paper, this team is gifted. Spirits, Hot and Cold, Gunner, and Gavini. The experience they have is something you just can't scoff at. You add Diffuser, who's proven himself a capable rookie, and you've got something that, in theory, should work out. On paper, it's there. In execution, it's not.
When you look at the Beast Coast roster, I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off.
Oh, no.
In my opinion, after their first game day, it just didn't look like they put the preparation in. It didn't look like they cared. It didn't look like they put the effort in. I'm not even going to go ahead and look at the game that they played against OXG, because that was just sad. That was embarrassing. It looked like they didn't even want to be in the server. But there was a little promise when we saw them play against Luminosity. We saw them put the effort in. We saw them cooking behind the scenes. But a lot of that was tied up to them just trying to copy SSG. How are you meant to be a top team in the NAL if you are just copying another team? And obviously, Luminosity came to play. They counter-stratted that. And it made Beast Coast look very sloppy, looked very lackluster. And I think that's the biggest fear when it comes to a team like Beast Coast. When you look at their stats, the stats are there. They're getting their kills, they're getting their trades, they're getting their entries, but they're not converting it to anything. They're not playing off of each other. They're not trading each other. They're not focusing on the objectives. And to me, it just looks very disappointed from players at this caliber because they need to find an identity. That's the biggest thing. They don't have an identity right now. And I hate to say it because I know a lot of these players are talented players and they can have that potential. They can put the pieces of the puzzle together. Just please try a little harder. And I really have high hopes for them going in further. I just think there wasn't much time for them to put everything into order.
You know what, I was going to add something, but I've changed my mind.
He's kind of said everything there.
I had to let it off. I had to let it off. I'm sorry.
Again,
I had to let it out.
Rip off the bandage. The wound is open and it's pouring. And for Beast Coast, again, they've not had very much time to debrief after two straight losses back-to-back yesterday. So they really need to make sure that their preparation is dialed in for this game against Wildcard, who for their own part have not had a phenomenal debut. They lost against OXG yesterday, 3-7 on Oregon. And it's really hard to not look at that loss and just get this immediate sense of deja vu. A lot of the same things looked like they were happening over and over again for this team.
They were happening over and over again, but at least we're seeing an identity form from Wildcard. They're a very solid backbone defensive team, a very old guard style of Siege, which used to be the bread and butter of Siege, but now it's adapted to a new type of attack defense style.
So let's just say, if we go in the lab for a second, both of you have had a chance, we've looked at the tape, we've reviewed the games, we're trying to figure out what is the problem with this Wildcard team. So what specifically, if you were to give them advice, to give them suggestions, what does this team need to do to win?
Well, number one, I think entry needs to be revitalized. Their entry game just isn't there. And part of this is a conscious choice for them. If you look at their stats, they don't have a clear defined entry role. A lot of their players have almost equal entry engagements. Most teams, there's an imbalance. Wildcard, most of them have about 4 to 6. Now you move on to the adaptability side of things, and we see this in the mid-round when it comes to map control. They need to be able to then get those entries, establish that map control, and then set themselves up to be adaptable in the late round.
And the adaptability, like you said, they're using a lot of utility to clear out angles to get that map control or get that entry, and it's not working. So you need to be able to be in those moments and say, okay, we got to wake up. Somebody needs to go. Somebody needs to be the entry. Somebody needs to get that position. And once you have that position, you need to lock it down. You can't just give it up for free and waste everything that you've put into it. And that's what it looks like on the attack side of Wildcard so far. But when it comes to the defenses, it's been pretty consistent. It's been pretty solid. You know what to expect with Wildcard. You don't know what to expect with Beast Coast.
It's just crazy that for Wildcard, it was day one, defensive start, 3-3 half, then struggle on their attacks. Yesterday, defensive start, 3-3 half, struggle on those attacks. That's the problem. They did get one.
We had one attacking round.
One attacking round.
For this team.
Over 2 games.
Yeah.
That's the overall problem. So it doesn't matter what map they play specifically. So as we get to maps, good segue. All right, Bank. Is there a chance? So hold on, Beast Coast attack first. Wildcard are on defense again, so the trend already looks like it can continue. What do we think about Bank?
That's a great map, great defensive sided map, especially for Wildcard. We know that they can lock these difficult sites to break apart, like Oregon basements. I think of Bank basement as being similar. I could see them taking away a little bit of a lead if they are able to get hot on defense. But the attacks is where it's going to fall back down to. And we know Beast Coast is very aggressive because all the players are playing their own game.
Yeah.
They haven't played together yet. So it'll be a nice little toss-up to see who can lock down these attacks.
No, exactly. Obviously they're going to pick to start on the defense. That's the choice they earned here. But I would love to see them start on the attacking side. I need to see them just set the rhythm early because this defensive half could mean nothing if they cannot attack again.
True. So if Beast Coast are all playing as individuals still, what are we thinking on picks? Fox, Beast Coast, Wildcard.
I think Wildcard starting on defense. They got to get a good little lead. They go 5-1 up. I'm going Wildcard.
All right. So 2 votes for the Big Red. Jesse, for his own part, has also gone Wildcard. Jonah, what does Laxing say?
Laxing started the day with one thing, and he went the other. He's going to end up on the Beast Coast side as he tries to separate himself from the pack over here.
He just wants some points. Let's be real.
Dude, at this point, yeah. Whether the stat is correct or not, and these are verified, by the way. This is exactly where the stats currently sit. Fox, you've gotten 2 out of 3 correct so far, and Lax is making a move, hoping to move up the standings just a little bit for the North American League Predictions Championship. Game 4 is on deck. Someone's got to win. Someone's going to start 0-3. Sam, Carter, who's taking this one home?
I mean,
come on.
Like, Beast Coast and Wildcard, dude, I don't know. Like, I got no idea, man. Do you know what we're dealing with right now? Have you seen these 2 teams play? Wildcard, I made a joke when they first played that it's like the old heads Rainbow Six team, and they're playing like it. It's like, oh, our attacks are stuck in 2021. That's unfortunate, but their defenses admittedly look good. And then we had the Beast Coast games yesterday, and was Fox harsh? Maybe. He was spitting, though. Like, he was right. Like, I'm watching Spirit spawn peak with Boss G ACOG in an NAL game. And this is our matchup.
Where do you want me to enter on this? That's what I'm trying to get. You take all the talking points and then you just lend it over to me like it. Like
I was about to say, I realized I also didn't make a prediction.
No, you didn't. But I will tell you this: when it comes to these 2 teams that have both started off 0-2, the old-headed me. I do have a little faith in Wildcard, and that's nothing against Beast Coast. I just think I think Beast Coast, as of right now, they're trying to duct tape themselves together. There's some things that need greased. There's some things that need battened down. It's all going to be on full display here, though, today. And that's what I'm the most excited about. Beast Coast versus Wildcard is bound to be interesting. It's kind of a clash of ideals. We still have some older spirits, not the player spirits, but some older heads over on Beast Coast as well. A Gunner you could even kind of start to put in there. He's been around the block, you could say. So
2 years now in the NAL.
Yeah. So a couple of things working into Beast Coast's favor as well.
Well, listen, I was hyping up the experienced iteration of this new Beast Coast roster, and I was definitely perplexed by some of the decisions made yesterday, but I think it's also, we've been very negative on Beast Coast, and I think it's very fair to say that they literally did not play the first week. Not only was obviously the first playdate canceled, but then they literally had a forfeit win, and then moved into yesterday, had to play 2 games, and they were both their entries into the NAL. So if there's going to be 2 rough games at all, it is going to be those 2 under those circumstances. We basically saw a week 1 team have to play a doubleheader in week 2. It's understandable that it's going to be rough. And today maybe will still be rough. On a map like Bank, if Beast Coast are playing like a bunch of individuals, this attacking side is going to be rough. It is large. You need to coordinate heavily on these clears on Bank. And if it's just 5 guys running around, playing ranked, I don't think it's gonna go well these first 6 rounds.
I don't think it'll be that kind of angle personally. I think at this point in time, especially with the players that they have there should definitely be some melding that has happened. But I think the big pressure point as of right now is how far along those lines are they, right? How deep into this building path have they went? For Beast Coast, at least for their initial lineup, things looking pretty golden. Really like the Hibana, obviously. This will be a lot of hatch work ahead of them.
Remember, right when this map first got reworked, see the Hibana banned even because of how much she could open with these hatches. This in Clubhouse, with those changes to the 6-4 and the 2x Kairos, the options you can change, made her very, very strong on sites where you need to open up those hatches. But credit to Beast Coast, I will say, obviously, you know, we've set the expectations decently low for the coordination, but in the first minute, they're actually doing quite well. They've made their way across the 2nd floor, created an inroad in the 1st floor, putting pressure onto the marble stairs position, also potentially able to make headway into open area as well. For the first minute, this is a very fast clear with a lot of control gathered. They are clearly aware as well that somebody either is playing marble stairs or at a minimum could be playing on marble stairs. Diffuser will fire some shots, but they honestly don't need to. You've seen the Buck locking down the flank. If they have a drone in that position, or even if Spirits is watching it from the top floor, they have what they need at this point in the mid-round to really get a lot of work done in these next 45 seconds.
And to be expected for Wildcard, it's kind of traditional Bank, isn't it? Kind of show face, maybe reinforce some stuff on that mid floor, attempt to slow things down a little bit, but it doesn't honestly gather them all that much at the end of the day. Still a minute 15 for Beast Coast to try and get things going on this offensive side, and they've got hatch control, so honestly, even pickings for both of these squads respectively. A nice find here for Gavini though, as he almost gets all of the Goyo canisters, still 1 to find, but unfortunately enough for him, enough cooldown left in that Twitch drone to be able to shock that out just yet.
But the utility clear, alongside the map control gathered by Beast Coast, is excellent. I mean, almost every single, and I think actually the final Vulcan canister shot inside of that locker's position, the one we saw Gavini fumbling with, it's all clear. The utility's pretty much gone. The only thing to worry about are these smokes, but of course, with Bosco, they're going to land. They're going to land at the exact worst time. He's got 20 seconds of denial left. So that means pushing down to the default plant slot will be extremely difficult. So where is Hot and Cold trying to put this diffuser? He'll sprint on into the bomb chassis. And are Wildcard able to react? Yes, they are. C4 from Gold sends Hot and Cold sky high. And the diffuser now dropped inside of the bomb site. 2 more kills go Wildcard's way. Diffuser with the follow-up. The lurk inside a garage has found 1, but the red position very exposed, and that's where the final kill comes through. It's looking great for Beast Coast until they hit the site. And then Wildcard bring it back for round 1.
And just had the proper utility in the proper spot there. That's really what it comes down to. Beast Coast trying to send it directly in on that front and really not able to do too much in that regard. Yeah, Houghton at least has a chance to try and put that plant down, but the secondary layer coming in there, that nitro cell especially doing the fatal blow to Hot and Cold, making life a little extra difficult for him and the gang. But Now, with Wildcard and that first round going their way, they're going to shift on over to open area. Really want to see what Beast Coast can do with this. I think they just kind of a little bit over the top instead of doing what they could have done, which is fade out things and try and look for some more utility pieces of the defense.
That's always the issue when you're running into that heavy util setup for the defense, is that you need to have as much time as possible in the late round to bait out all of that utility. And even though they took map control quickly, they destroyed all the Goyo canisters, they still had the C4s, and they still had the smokes. I mean, that was a defense perfectly crafted, not only to cater to Wildcard's playstyle, but also to force Beast Coast into a difficult position if they start baiting out the utility at only a minute left. So trying to bait it out earlier definitely might be the play. Maybe even just trying to go for a plant close on the red wall instead of inside of the site itself in one of the more default positions might be the play. Either way, we can do a different bomb site now. We do have a bit of an upstairs hold and really no presence on the bottom floor.
You know, org-wise, we've seen something like this before on Bank out of Beast Coast, haven't we?
Oh, the Amaru up through open area?
At
Yes,
a time
my friend,
when
we have.
Tripulus Maximus was a part of the roster.
Is he a Roman emperor? What is his name?
I came up with something, you know. You gotta add. You gotta add.
All right.
The moral of the story, Gavini could potentially be trying to expose some of these hatches with this Gara hook. Previous iteration, we saw a plant around that open area hatch, but some things implemented for Wildcard, especially in this top floor that could place spoils to a scenario like this. Solid retake options for them. Beast Coast don't want to try and go for things too aggressively just yet. Everything in its place. You have the player over towards ATM. Gunner's going to swing in off the top rope. Gara hook in here, but obviously Hot and Cold's going to be the one to attempt the plant. Bosco will gun down Gav, and so far so good for Wildcard.
Yeah, the Amaru push completely stunted in open area. Man advantage going the way of Wildcard. Vertical just chilling on Oryx on the top floor, but Spiker does fall. So man count brought back to a 3v3, and the Oryx in a bit of an isolated position. Once he's droned, though, he will fall back down, likely the smart decision. As with a minute 20 seconds remaining, and not diffuser in hand to be fair, but still the initial execute fended off. There's no point overplaying your hand on the defense. Don't need to give an isolated engagement away to Beast Coast, especially when you can maybe lurk down below in 20, 30 seconds time, maybe hit a flank when Beast Coast aren't droning, because at this point, that's the main thing that could be their undoing. They might be able to find their way back to the top floor and get some vertical destruction down, but in all likelihood, with Gunner around main lobby, this is just going to be either push down staircases, maybe an open hatch in stock if they've been able to do it, but I don't even think Beast Coast have that. And instead, with Gunner all the way down below, they've spotted the Oryx, but he needs to win this fight, because if he invests this much time and manpower into a flank and a lurk that doesn't work out, he is going to be kicking himself that he sold round 2.
Lots of pressure on Vert now. He'll finally be discovered from Diffuser, though. The secondary as well. Just continue to try and pressure out that situation. But why wouldn't you? Very minimal time. BC have to try and transition this into a site hit. It's going to be coming from the elevator hallway. They could also try and get admin into the fold, but it's going to be Kansan in a very similar position to what we'd seen him get a triple, even more so in previous history, but he's finally going to get taken down. It's going to be Bosco that actually deals the death blow to BC. It's Wildcard to pick up another round on this mid-floor site.
If we want to talk about that, how that old Beast Coast take typically worked, and we've seen it multiple times in the past couple of years, is like you have one guy beneath the open area hatch. You typically, well, at least again in this old iteration, one guy printer window, one guy electrical, and then one guy swinging in from beepers on the stairs, but also one guy behind him to make sure that he can't get flanked from behind or maybe taken down by somebody elevators. Obviously there, not what happened. We had a Buck and Spirits all the way on the top floor. Gavini sending his way into sight, seemingly, if not by himself, at least with minimal support behind him to actually deal with those site players. So once he's shut down, it is very easy for Wildcard to come out the winner in those trades, because they've only got a couple guys on the top floor. They got the Oryx and maybe one other guy, but Bosco's on the site. Kansan's on the site. Spiker's on the site. All of these players are not necessarily anticipating an Amaru rush, but can easily counter a quick play conducted by only 2 to 3 players. So 2 very strong anchor holds from Wildcard so far, and that makes sense. If this is a passive team, a slow team, it's the backline that's been doing the talking these past 2 rounds.
Very true. Well, for our very first bank, we've kind of went around the site triangle that we usually see so far. Don't usually have a lot of people trying to add in tellers and archives, but we did have that a bit when it came to SI. Like I said, this is our very first bank, so we'll be going off of what happened at SI. 55% overall defensive win rate, and CEO Lounge, actually the worst site at a 48% defensive win rate. So by those numbers, East Coast, best opportunity lies in front of them.
Usually, it's so easy to win on the attack because of the power of these exterior angles. You can see the X-Cairo so early on used to open up Kanto. Named after Kanto Raketti. I feel like sometimes you got to remind people what those call-outs are named after. Named after the player, Kanto Raketti. Used to often play that elevator position, and it's a very strong spot for the defense to counter a spiral take, but equally so if the attack goes on the rappel, it cuts down the entirety of that vending hallway, basically making it impossible for an entry into square to actually be swung from that position, or anybody in stock, assuming it's clear, to be swung from the elevators as well. Obviously, there's still other work you have to do, but it's those outside rappel angles that are so strong for the attack, and what Beast Coast are trying to find very early on.
Legend here for Spirits. Spiker doesn't want to step too far forward and expose himself to those windows. Doesn't know if somebody's actually holding that angle actively. Well, Bosco does have a very good view of this. Gonna burn out these ADSs. Influence Bosco's position. Selma out, or rather, dash charge out. Able to break up that window. Our utility placement once again here from Wildcard. But what else would you expect, especially after these first two rounds? And such a bang-up job in this scenario. Now Rampy, longer angles for him. Beast Coast have been stunted, at least for now. Remember, that case is in Hot and Cold's hands. Gunner still with an EU1D to try and assist here as we go into the sub-minute.
The utility clear is working, but almost entirely stuck on these rappels. 4 different players on the rappel right now. 3 on the CEO side, 1 over by Kanto. And Gunner instead just trying to hit a lurk up the stock hallway, but Bosco's ready for it. Prone on the floor. It's actually vertical on that long angle on marble stairs, who's shielded himself from the rappel to get that opening pick. Gavini's able to trade out on a Spiker, though, but Hot and Cold domed the moment he enters the bomb site. Wildcard have anticipated what Beast Coast are doing and are countering it flawlessly. Rampy just dodges behind the drawer. Gavini's able to cut him down on the rappel in, though, so maybe still a winnable round for Beast Coast, as long as they either recover this diffuser or get the necessary picks. Vertical smoked inside of elevator. Now we might just have a W on our hands for Beast Coast. The player inside of janitor spotted. The diffuser knows he's there, but on such low HP, a lot of the burden falling on Gavini and Spirits to find this kill. The Ash pushes so far up, is able to find the triple, and where's Kansan? He finds one, but not the second. An extremely close call in round 1 for BC. But the kills on the Flood work out. They're able to get their first attack on the board.
The damage control there from Beast Coast. Able to find the equalizer. Not only that, find that little cove over there on that checker side. Able to try and keep things very kosher for the remainder of the round. Especially love the play there from Gav. Time and time again, when his number was called upon, he was able to get those kills consistently and open up the floodgates for Beast Coast as they brought it to the shores of Wildcard on that top floor. And like I said at the beginning, Carter, that was probably their best chance when it comes to the overall gameplay of Bank. That top floor, very exposed, especially to the windows, like you said. And Beast Coast added even more to that, you know, breaking things up like the elevator hallway, making it to where Wildcard had to try and play things pretty tightly knit inside of those, you know, small amount of rooms right around the CEO space.
It is still, I'd still be remiss if I didn't bring it up, though, that Beast Coast aren't making these rounds easy for them, even with that win. I mean, that entire victory was predicated on the success of anybody. Could have been Gavini, could have been Gunner, could have been a lot of people, but somebody getting a lot of picks on that execute, because with 4 players on the rappel and only 1 guy actually inside the building, when that lurk from Gunner didn't work out, he was the first pick. You are praying that, okay, we move in, Gavini gets enough kills, or Diffuser gets enough kills, or Hot and Cold gets enough kills. Wildcard are 3-0 on the entry so far. A lot of these kills happening very late in the round, and Beast Coast aren't making opportunities for themselves. On this bottom floor attack, they were able to acquire control quickly, but Sam, it was a similar story in round 1.
Most definitely. A similar lineup, too. Makes me definitely makes me wonder as to what happens to our gas canisters down low. Ended up seeing those blown up very soon by Gavini. Switch runs very effective the last time around. They're going to get Hot and Cold here on the mid-level. And as you said, Carter, it's going to be pretty easy access for them. So it should be pretty easy access to the hatches too, as there's not a single thing standing in their way utility-wise of getting full control over this. So be back to Wildcard and how well they can play out this personal utility across the board. And even added Vert in here with that MPX of the Warden, try and assist and getting in the way of Beast Coast clear. And once again, does he have 3 this time? He does. He will get all of those gas canisters that were facing frontward towards server.
And it might be basically a replay of the first round, but honestly, if a lot of that work is done quicker, it's still winnable. But just look at the sheer metric tonnage of utility focused on stopping this default plant. The Evil Eyes, the Black, or the, not the Black Eyes, the, what is Mirror's gadget name? Why am I blanking on
Black Mirrors.
Black Mirror. Okay, it is Black Mirror. I'm so stupid. I'm like, that's Valkyrie's gadget. Anyway, ignore me. Still the mirror windows looking their way, the Black Mirrors. But all this utility focused on denying that default plant spot, and Hot and Cold is starting to move into the similar position. Are Beast Coast able to find those Evil Eyes as well? Is it just the Vulcan packs they're worrying about? Either they add another dimension, maybe through Garage, or they bait out the utility quicker. Either way, something's got to give, because we're all careening towards a repeat of round 1.
Oh! Is that how it goes down out inside of Garage? The plan's going down for Hot and Cold. Gavini holding things down over inside of Gold. This is just a completely discombobulated moment for all parties. Plant goes down, Hot and Cold's gonna call it into the post. Gavini will die to Kansan in the back line. Now Wildcard with a chance, but this is a really difficult post plant, ladies and gentlemen. Osco does have a smoke to try and add to this problem. They do attempt to find a solution. Spirit's so solid so far on this angle, though. Does have one that will sneak him by, but the second one won't. He'll take down Bosco, but Kansan, he takes out Hot and Cold somehow. Spirits is going to be forced to drop, but no, they don't know that he's working his way forward. Spirits for 2, and Beast Coast with their second round on this offensive side.
And we see the difference maker. It's not a change up in the plant spot. Instead, it is the alternative option. They had Diffuser lurking in Garage before, by the way, but it wasn't enough to be the difference maker. But another position is added. Gavini dropping down into the vault hatch, decimating the backline, or at least making it problematic for the players in Gold and the players in Red Hallway to go about the same plant denial that they did before. I really like that adjustment from Beast Coast to make it a lot better. But also, credit's got to be due, finding those Vulcan packs earlier by doing a lot of the same job quicker, because Wildcard haven't changed up their setup whatsoever. Beast Coast are able to give them a little bit more of a cushion when they go for that plant, but also with Gavini dropping down that vault hatch, being more successful on that lurk, even though Diffuser is smoked inside a Garage, they're able to actually stop the utility usage from being as effective as it was in round 1 from Wildcard and get their first really, truly convincing attack on the board.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, which for Wildcard, I mean, I think especially going into that round, they're like, all right, the top floor didn't work out, but the basement, that should be a layup for us. And it was anything but. East Coast, especially with Wildcard giving them a very similar look to how the utility was set up. I mean, just practically gifting them that scenario, at least on the server side, but Beast Coast definitely made the most of it. Wasn't all easy pickings at the end of the day. Still gotta try and get the dirty jobs done, and they most definitely did that. Now Wildcard have allowed Beast Coast back into this, although not worried too much about that, at least when it comes to the aggressive front. Wildcard still sticking to their guns, so I have a few implications on this top floor with some castle barricades to boot.
Castle barricades and long angles. 2 ACOGs on this top floor, the dock and the castle, to make anybody pushing in through square, or a stock for that matter, a little bit more weary or a little more leery of taking any gunfights. I think we have a third player as well. Yeah, indeed. One over by the marble stairs. That's vertical on the Oryx. So much more dedicated roam setup than what we saw before. There were roamers last time, don't get me wrong, but now it's no longer just somebody maybe chilling on the top floor, and now they are ardently holding this control. Who will come out the victor in these opening engagements? Ash moving on in, down the hallway. Gunner, the first time Beast Coast get an opening pick in their favor. Now Shirley with the 5v4, and a lot of these roamers now falling back to the site, except Vertical, who's gone unread inside a stock, able to bring it back to a 4v4, but traded out by Hot and Cold. Still very much a win for Beast Coast in the early round.
Yeah, most definitely. And an even bigger find as Gunner opens up a line of sight onto Spiker, who's forced to take the gunfight through the verticality and loses out. It's a 4 versus 2. Beast Coast looking to take the lead on a 3-round tear if they're able to get round 5. They're going to slow things down with 1:10 remaining. Kansan, a huge moment here for him. He'll get swung on, though, by Diffuser, who will also get taken out, but Spirits is there to double down. And Beast Coast now take the lead, 3-2.
I was about to say, I was like, well, I mean, we got 2 people just double stacking the guy Marble. I guess Beast Coast actually want to take a very quick end of this round. And I mean, I understand the desire, and I understand the inclination. Beast Coast are very successful on the clear early on. They know there are plenty of roamers on the top floor. And I thought of all the positions that would go uncleared. Stock was not the one I thought would be. I thought maybe Kansan inside of Janitor, or maybe the castle all the way back inside of CEO was going to go uncleared. But they actually find both of them. Well, at least push Kansan back. They're able to find the castle on the top floor as the first pick. I love that push from Gunner up the spiral stairs as most of Beast Coast are pushing from square side. Gunner adds another dimension. All the defense's attention is drawn to that square side, so he's able to get a kill on the backside, find Rampy on that long angle. And even though Vertical gets a kill, he hops out the stock window. Easy 4v3 right there. So Beast Coast, obviously, undeniably the victors. And at that point, you can just play man advantage. You know somebody's going to be playing close in that beeper's door. It's one of the strongest positions in the open area bomb site. So you can 2v1 that guy, get the trade, get an inroad into the bomb site. And at that point, easy for Beast Coast and Wildcard. Now, losing the bit more unsecured territory, go back down to Locker CCTV for a 3rd try at the primary bomb site on Bank.
Well, so far, so good for Beast Coast. Uncold really the only one that hasn't been able to get too much done in comparison to what he had been doing across the previous games. But even then, East Coast definitely being able to pick the pieces up, at least in the frag department. Uncold has definitely been there when it comes to trying to get a diffuser down and things along those lines. And sometimes you got to die for the cause, don't you, Carter? That's the unfortunate case scenario for every team. Somebody's got to do those little things nobody really wants to do. Now for Beast Coast, I'm going to try and work this map yet again. Easy access to the mid floor once again, too. We'll look to try and get these hatches swept under the rug and transition this into an easy execute.
Very slight change, maybe subtle one for Wildcard, giving his, mainstay status on this bomb site. Cade in the cards, I was about to say, but it seems there are more pertinent things going on as we just have a diffuser behind the Talon shield. Chad walking up the garage, but kills happening everywhere but garage. I genuinely don't know what is going on as everyone in the entire lobby, all 10 players, have decided this round is going on far too long. Let's see if we can end this quicker than the previous one. 2v3 now, effectively. With Hot and Cold close on the marble stairs, he's trying to bait out the res, see if he can take down the players, either reviving Rampy or going for the cover, but none of it's successful. He reveals his position and tags up Spiker ever so slightly. Rampy is very much alive and very much kicking it. Now making it a 2v4. Spirit's somewhat stuck behind this Talon shield. He'll pull out the SMG-12 off the back of those flashbangs, make the entry on in, but he's smoked, revealed, and dispatched by Spiker by Elevator, who gets the final 2 picks. Overall, I was thinking, I'll talk about this Cade adjustment that's electrified the hatches, and they decided to end the round instead.
Yeah, that was definitely a round for sure.
One of the rounds of all time, for certain.
Most definitely. I thought for a split second there that Bosco's game had crashed because I saw just like the Steam splash there, or the Ubisoft Connect splash, whatever it was for the game. But no, we're all good. Wildcard, though, able to buffer off Beast Coast on a rush towards the basement. Just a lot of weird happenings going on inside of that one, Carter. We think things are mostly going to be centralized around garage, but the epicenter, for some reason, is actually marble stairs. Everyone trying to fight fire with fire around that space, donating to the cause. Rampy even going down as he swung back through from those garage angles that we thought were going to be the most active, but clearly not. And somehow, some way, Wildcard equalized things on their last defense before they head into the half.
10 seconds left.
And almost as if by divine providence, we are at pretty much the exact same scoreline Wildcard have been at every single one of their games up until this point. 3 rounds in the defense. Then what comes afterwards? Well, in the first game against M80, 1 round on the attack to lose 4-7. In the case of their OXG game yesterday, no rounds on the attack. 4 rounds unanswered by OXG on the defense to win Oregon 7-3. And now Beast Coast find themselves on the side that Wildcard just can't seem to beat. At least 30 seconds in, Sam, they've acquired an early entry into CEO. I am still concerned for what comes afterwards, because it is that late round that is the big problem for this Wildcard roster.
Yeah, it's nice that both of these teams have a great understanding of the early game of Bank, right? Both of them getting this early clear going on the top floor and trying to transition that into some mid-floor control. East Coast are playing around that, though. Some of these hatches already preemptively opened, so we'll look for some more aggressive looks. That does beg the question as to how Wildcard will attempt to deal with this. Just trying to apply pressure and just have, potentially Beast Coast back off. It really just is up to how they want to try and play this out. Wasn't that far position, but he's already peeled off. We do have that player still over inside of the elevator space, but potentially see that drop come in too.
There we go. Vaney drops back down. 1:45 seconds left. 5-man hold on the site. One small change, I suppose, is no smoke like we saw from Wildcard, so the main sources of denial will be those Vulcan canisters and the Evil Eyes. We saw the impact those smoke canisters could have if Wildcard take too long to open these hatches and move for a plant down on the bottom floor. Sure, they might detonate the Vulcan packs. They have the Twitch, just as Beast Coast did, to detonate these packs prematurely, but those smokes cooked and landed properly can deny 30 seconds in a very easily read position by the defense. So where are Wildcard going to go? Are they aiming for the default plant? We see the pressure inside a server, see the Vulcan packs being detonated. They've only found 1 so far. Still need to find 2 more, because if these are detonated, we're reaching the point where there's just enough time remaining for those flames to exist the remainder of this round.
Precarious scenario now for Wildcard. Exactly how do they work their way around this? Another canister will pop. Add another 20 seconds to the timer there, folks. BC can just lie and wait. Gunner sees one down range, and he's got this slug shotgun. This thing can reach out there and touch its opponents, especially for those headshots. You're looking to line up one of those. Deep drum mag too, so consistently try and play out this angle. Sees Bosco. I don't know if he got that angle there, but Bosco, he's gonna stick to his guns, and he gets the plant. The nitro cell doesn't even find anything. Wildcard with a swath of kills as well. BC now thrust into the retake as they're trying to figure this out in the post plant.
Rampy spotted 1. Diffuser shut down as on the retake up Marble. Spirits looking to recover those efforts, but it seems that it's not going to happen. Sure, you have Hot and Cold down below, proccing that defuse, starting to bait out that attention, but he's going to follow up, right? There's going to be follow-up, thank God, okay. That was a little too close, I'm not going to lie to you guys, but Wildcard able to recover. And the big difference for me, if you want to compare and contrast these teams, Wildcard landed that C4. It wasn't even thrown by Beast Coast.
You know, it's true. It's very true. Wildcard just have that one extra peg, it seems, inside their belt loop. Been fantastic for them so far, especially when it comes to some more of, these utility fronts, some of these moments where things are kind of hard pressed. Able to find some really nice shots, especially for this offensive assault that they just had on the basement. But in total agreement with you. It just seems like Wildcard have at least thought just that one step further into how to be able to apply themselves into these different situations that we've seen befalling them so far. Now for Beast Coast, they are going to gift over the lead after they did have that nice 3-round tear. Wildcard will fire back with 2 of their own.
I was kind of worried the round would go awry as well. I mean, we saw the power that adding somebody dropping down the vault hatch can add to the attack. We didn't really see that from Wildcard. Still think there are potentially some holes Beast Coast could take advantage of in that attacking strategy. We'll have to see what happens now, though. We'll of course see Church and Arsenal later on at some point. East Coast will almost certainly go back to it. On the first floor instead, I think we'll probably see a little bit harder of a roam. Not necessarily with, a castle holding on to certain positions, but, well, I mean, there's 2 players on the site right now and 3 players on the top floor, an open area. Kind of the name of the game. Hot and Cold with the Azami will try to hold on around stock as long as he can. This is where we see that DMR change, specifically how quickly they can destroy the Kibas, maybe have an impact, because with the Dokkaebi and the Twitch both running DMRs, Hot and Cold setup might be made quick work of if those 2 players can find good enough angles on these Kibas.
Kansan back with the 417. Speaking of DMRs, he's been playing lights out today, 12-5. And coming into this, the only even-keeled player in the entirety of Wildcard, sitting at 17-17. So definitely going to be happy about that stat line, at least for now. But does it lead to a victory? That's the real question. So far, so good on this top floor clears. They're getting some drone work done. Osco, not too much off that drone. Gonna have to try and go for things once again, as he does find out that initial drone was shot from that checkers position. Beast Coast, the top side hold here. Make sure that a lot of these windows aren't going to be as easily swung from WC.
Well, Bosco will repel in. It's instead Spiker with the first pick. Diffuser cut down. Spirits finds a pretty easy second, though, as he heard the repel sound and anticipated where he'd push. Gavini follows up onto Rampy. Kansan now making his way into CEO. I think he's got to be good for this trade here. No, it's Vertical, actually, that finds Spirits, but he might be good for this one as well. Don't know how much the Kibas are shielding Hot and Cold's position, but at least the timing is good enough to allow him to drop back into the site, getting away very, very close there. I was wondering if Gunnar was found out as a flashbang collides against his feet. He is found and downed just outside of the elevator position. Spiker finishes him off successfully in a very close clear of that top floor. Very, very problematic, but Wildcard find an advantage. So what do they have now? Hot and Cold's got one Kiba, one singular Kiba to stall out that entry, but they basically have to do double duty, one inside of open area, one inside a cafe. And wherever Wildcard decide to push, whether it's dropping down the stock cache or pushing in through beepers, they've got a man advantage on one of these positions. Maybe, just maybe, Gavini on this long angle can be enough to make the difference. Maybe with just low enough time, Wildcard will leave enough of a gap to give Beast Coast the opening they need.
Solid info going the way of Wildcard. The play comes now. It's looking like the main hatch, but they still have some time, although very minimal. Try and make an adjustment. Vini right around the kitchen double, trying to break things up inside of the kitchen space. It has to happen in this moment. Gav will go down to Spiker. I think Spiker tried to work the small hatch. Hot and Cold, though, he'll be able to at least down Vertical. Kansan has to stick this. Can he discover it? He can! Hotten! He can't hit fire with the Deagle. It's down to the 1 versus 1. What is this moment? Oh my God! He gets Kansan back up! And Kansan delivers immediately. He knows the rotation's happening. What a moment for Wildcard. How does this happen? How?
Oh my God. He's somebody's body blocked his bullets and prevented him from downing the guy with the diffuser. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my God. I can't believe that happened. Okay. So basically,
this playday is giving. It is giving.
It's given a whole lot of different things. So Gavini, I like that rotation. He plays close on the wall. They know they're going to anticipate him cafeteria side, so he rotates around the corner, but Spiker finds him. Great find by Spiker right there. Really excellent, because that could have been the position to completely end that round for Wildcard. But then Hot and Cold rotates around, and I like that as well, because Kansan basically does not have time to get the bomb down, even in the default, deep behind the cafeteria. So he just tries to smoke and plant on the door, and Hot and Cold finds him. And I still can't believe this. He just downs the wrong guy. It's as simple as that. He pre-fires, and somebody is standing in front of the guy with the diffuser, Kansan. And when he rotates around, again, Hot and Cold kills the wrong guy. Finishes off the guy covering him. Vertical's still down, so Kansan can get him back up, and then he does an ADS with the Deagle. He hip fires. Genuinely, if there was ever like a Looney Tunes attempt at plant denial and post plant, that's as close as we can get in Siege, because I cannot believe how close that round was to a W for Beast Coast, and just the dumbest things on the planet stopped it from happening. Not only dumb like these players are stupid, just like unbelievable levels of comedy for how Hot and Cold that didn't end up winning that round.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous. Now I will say this, just to defend Houghton just a little bit, for the pistol ADS. He did try to ADS. It takes a little while now.
Oh yeah, because the prone. Yeah, when you go prone, it un-ADSs you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So he may have committed a little oopsie whoopsie there on the switch over, but that's okay. I think we all would in a situation like that where you're like, I am a split-second decision away from winning this entire round in the clutch. that time around, it's on the cards for hot and cold, unfortunately enough. Wild card now up 2 rounds, and Kansan once again looking so solid here. Vertical now getting actively droned in. They know where one is right around the bay.
Bomb located by attacker.
Doesn't want to give the look though, and why would you? Vertical could possibly be on the other end of that.
Vertical, just calm enough. He's like, I've been here before. If he's backed off, he's backed off. I trust the guy droning me. See how well these Rotero drones land?
Oh, wow.
I love that.
get
Right
it?
in front of all those Vulcan packs. It should get both. Yeah, it will. 1 Rotero, 2 Vulcans. Beautiful stuff right there. I believe already a lot of that denial on the front side is gone. Do love this from Beast Coast, though. We have the addition of that smoke. Sure, it had it all right set up on the previous round, but the addition of that smoke, it makes things so much more comfortable. You've got... I'm not going to lie to you. I saw a Maestro in an elevator. I kind of just assumed it was Gunner. It's actually Gavin sitting right above the hatch. He falls back instead. It's a very Gunner thing to do, if we're being honest.
You know, you're right. I hate it, but you're right. I'm surprised it's not Gunner playing smoke inside of that elevator, actually. But either way, somehow, some way, both of these teams still staying alive. Nobody taken out just yet, although Kabini definitely battered and bruised for all intents and purposes. Minute and 10 seconds remain in round 9. And what do you have in store for us, round? That's the real question. Well, it's going to be hot and cold, at least to kick us off. It's going to be able to take out Vert of all people. And Vert, he'd cooled off over towards blue, but I guess he was trying to adopt a longer angle over towards the server and ends up getting gunned down by Hotton.
Even though the utility play from Wildcard is very strong, the switch to these Rotero drones has found Evil Eyes, Vulcan packs, has done basically more work than the Twitch could dream of with that limited capabilities to shock the utility. It might not really matter. Hot and Cold's prepped for anybody dropping down Vault. You still have players inside a garage, and Spirits all the way on this back angle might just be safe to go for this C4, and Gunner has already prepped the second of 3 toxic canisters to stall out this plant. And like, it's not happening in the default. Bosco's gonna have to readjust. He's gonna have to go somewhere else. See if it's able to land. He seemingly dodged the toxic canisters for the time being. Spiker waiting to time this drop. Kansan with a huge find as Hot and Cold tries to deny the plant single-handedly. All of Beast Coast battered and bruised in the post as Bosco's able to remove himself completely. Having planted up on the desk, he has sprinted all the way out of the bomb site into a very safe position in server. So Beast Coast, do what you expect. Go for the 2-man push-up marble. Try to retake the hatch. But already half the post plant is gone, and Bosco's found the one guy left on the site. Rampy, with a punch hole to watch that rotation above the hatch, is more than ready for that move from Beast Coast. And the time is gone. There is no time for a retake, no time for these kills. A goated plant and triple from Boss Goat himself. Wildcard moved to match point, and they are looking great on these attacks.
A legacy planter, that man right there. And just goes to show you, sometimes it's just all about the plant spot, baby. He finds that spot up on the desk, Carter, and not a single bit of Beast Coast utility touches this man. Not only that, but Wildcard are able to find moment after moment, pick after pick, leading up to the plant and in the post, making things so difficult when it comes to man count, man advantage for Beast Coast. They kind of have to just try and send it at the mid floor and hope, pray that something goes awry for Wildcard. But I mean, they had already gotten the hard part done. The hard part was getting that plant down, man.
And combined with the smokes and just that excellent heads-up call by Bosco to dodge all that utility, Wildcard have won 3 attacks in a row, have not dropped a single attacking round out of the 3 played so far. Have completely answered the questions we had as to whether this team could hang. Sure, it's not been flawless. There have definitely been some struggles. You know, that round, Hot and Cold finding Vertical inside a server. The previous rounds, it being very down to the wire. I mean, open area, that round speaks for itself. That was a very sloppy win for Wildcard, but a best of 1, it was a win. It's helped them on this journey to get to match point, and their lockers attacks have looked very good. I've liked their reading, I've liked their calling, and as they go to CEO, we've mentioned how difficult this site can be for the defense sometimes. The moment that utility play works or the attack gets that advantage.
Well, here it is. Wildcard have a chance to not only get a win on the board, but get a really good round count on the board as well. A huge split for them, as it could go up +4 for this. Kansan, out of all ops, he's going to be in the collie. I honestly like this call, especially for the window play. This operator, all she's got to do is just catch you at the right moment. It'd be a game-changing shot with a singular bullet. Bosco's going to be over here as well to try and assist, more than likely to try and break up some of these mirror windows with those Selma charges. Ensign, you could say the same for him with these Lancers. That's exactly what they brought this for. We saw it the last time with the Ash. This time around, it's going to be the Sniper instead.
And for that reason as well, you talked about the Sniper in these windows being able to down players so quickly, or even one-shot players. The Lances, just the ability to just with 3 of those, decimate any mirror windows and also have one additional one to burn or destroy a Kiba. Really anything you want. You have that benefit of the engagements against players, but the utility clear as well can be quite strong. Vini has those Kibas generating over the course of the round. He's able to place, I believe, his final one onto the bookcase and get another bit of an aggressive stance, but it's worked himself into a bit of a bind, actually. Because it's destroyed that castle barricade and somebody's actively playing that window, he's kind of stuck behind this bookcase now with players on CEO and players just to the right of them. Wildcards still don't have a whole lot of control. There's one player stuck and has just peaked vertical, sitting outside the square doorway, so it's not all well and good for Wildcard. Gavini might be in a bad spot, but the rest of the defenders on this stock side are feeling quite a bit of freedom.
And this is the thing you got to start to worry about as these rounds start to extend themselves, especially with the man count. You don't have control over on that end of things. In fact, that player over on the balcony, the farthest stretched for a Wildcard when it comes to that direction. An immediate punish there from Hot and Cold and solid timing. Rounds like this, I mean, it can feel like ages when you're in the lobby. Just single moment there, broken window, an easy kill onto Vert. Wildcard now all front-loaded on this northern side. Still have a player trying to work the balcony too, as they've added another one to the fold, just an off angle to try and get something going for themselves. A beautiful swing from Gav. He'll be able to take out one, but Bosco immediately shoots back. The case in Bosco's hand. They have to try and swing these windows.
Gotta try and swing him, but Kansas holding. Gunner's able to find Bosco, though, and that might just save the round. Diffuser stuck inside of the site. That's an easy find for Gunner. And he can control a little bit with that swing, because the round's already won. Beast Coast will stay alive. Seeing the Gavini dying, they might have been set up for a success, but Wildcard need another round to try and close this out.
That's the one thing about the Sniper, right? I mean, it's great when you hit somebody, but when you miss, there's a lot of time between that shot and your follow-up. Unfortunately enough, that spelled the demise of Bosco. Another round going the way of BC. Oh, man, I love this timeout. BC just now get around, just, get back into the good graces of themselves. And Wildcard's like, I'm going to put this on ice. Let's talk about this. We've got some very serious considerations to make, not only for this round, but potentially down the line.
You want to know why I'm probably taking this timeout? Because I know BC are picking open area next, and they do not want a repeat of round 8 with how close that was, how ridiculously close that was. If Hot and Cold doesn't prone, he clutches a 1v3, and to be fair, we're at 5. Math. 5-5 right now. Yes, there we go. So I would absolutely, not only just because Beast Coast picked up a round, you want to break up that momentum, also you want to, my brain has just been complete. Dude, it's been such a long day. It is 10 p.m. and I try to suddenly switch points and my brain just completely collapsed. Point I was making, not only do you want to break up that momentum, but you also know that Beast Coast, oh no, they picked lockers.
Man, it's just going off the rails for you, isn't it?
I didn't expect, okay, to be fair, they have completely revamped their defenses. So it's not like they're trying the same Goyo, Maestro, Mira strat like they did before, right? So it's not just they're repeating bomb sites, they are trying it differently. I really thought they would have tried open area again, which they basically almost won, even before that 1v3. Whereas on lockers, Wildcard have had their number seemingly almost every time.
Although that might be true, was Spirits on Vigil previously? Because
no,
I'm going to say no.
No, he was not. He was not.
And that's the game changer right here. Oh, man. So listen, hold on. Let me talk about this for a second, because listen, I gotta give a shout out. I gotta give a shout out to a good friend of mine, and it's very close to my good friend as well, Foxay. But one of my close personal friends, his name is Fox, right? And I have a vendetta against this man because you want to know something that he uses all the time, Carter?
I don't want to hear it.
It's Boss GA Cock. And now I am a huge hater because obviously I'm an esports commentator and I'm like, you got to do the mainline things, Evan. Okay, come on. Like, what are we doing here? And this man routinely gets me to shut up because he bodies people with this gun. The one thing that the Boss G has going for it, okay? If you are able to hit your targets, it will down somebody at range if you hit them in the chest. If you hit them in the chest, Carter, it is an amazing gun. But here's the thing, if you miss, everything goes down the pipe. It's over.
Listen, okay. I've seen Spirit spawn peak with Boss G ACOG, and it triggers something in me that it just, my reptile brain activates. At least right now, nothing has happened. And to be fair, Spirits has actually been kind of a minister with the SMG-12 and the kills he's gotten, so if he just brings that as the secondary, it honestly justifies
that. It's not about that at the end of the day, is it?
Listen.
See, he even knows. Look at him.
I see
his natural habitat.
I see it. He's holding the long angle. I get it. And you know what? For Beast Coast as well.
Oh, Spirits.
It's still a roam setup. He spots it.
Oh, Spirits. He's down him. Oh, no, he missed it.
And now, look, now he's going for the finish. That's actually crazy. You're going, what?
Speak on it. Say what you're going to say. Say it.
What?
Say it. Say you're a hater now.
He's downed vertical, top square. He runs out of tellers to secure the kill when Wildcard are in square. And not only does he not secure the kill, he doesn't because he domes Bosco.
No, but one would say that he actually did secure the kill because he killed Bosco. He's 12-6. You know, he left vertical there on purpose. That's what happened. I'm
not buying it. What I am buying is I do appreciate this shift from Beast Coast, and this shift might just actually be enough to make it happen. The roam, forcing Wildcard to solve problems, it's being very difficult, but not when Kansan, dropping 16 kills, has suddenly brought the round back. Spirits falls, but again, it's all on those off-site players. It's on the players who, Vigil, sure he's bringing Boss G ACOG, he's not bringing good enough utility. But what is the one thing that could make this go their way? The intel on one player for Beast Coast actually inside of the site. The flashbangs go out. They know a drop is coming down this hatch, but Spiker's worked his way in, is going for the plant, and Vertical can cover. It might actually go down successfully.
Man.
No! Gunner's rotated across! How's he gone out unnoticed? Beast Coast just managed to hold on unless Hot and Cold can't get there in time. Can't get there in time. You see him. There we go. 6-5. And I am forbidding us from talking about Boss G ACOG, but the switch to a roam is exactly what Beast Coast needed.
But it is kind of the story at the beginning, though, isn't it? I mean, like, it did get us what was almost, or at least led to, the leadoff pick. But yeah, we'll rest it here. We'll hang that up. As for the rest of the round, past the shenanigans, we'll call them, that happened inside of Square was something that Spirit should have never gotten away with at the end of the day as he ran up that. Beast Coast, they're able to not only repel Wildcard, but they're able to get it down into a 2 versus 2 on this harebrained roam strat. Look how many bodies are around these top levels for BC. And not only that, but they're able to trade out evenly with Wildcard and make it to where they really don't have a chance to get a safe plant off. Yeah, it's a little bit of a miscalculation from Wildcard on the angles, but it's really all off the back of Beast Coast's effort that they were even in that scenario in the first place.
And now we are
You're stressed. I can tell. I can feel
it has been we are about to have our 4th minimum max regulation game. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Hold on. I am out of water. That is not ideal. The water is gone.
Oh.
It's not great. Anyway.
Gotta get a bigger cup, man.
I've just drank.
Is this amateur hour?
No, I've just drank a lot of water. It is our 4th max regulation game of the day. We've gone back to open area, which if you're wondering why I'm getting overwhelmed, there was maximum silliness towards the end of this round previously. But, be fair, still required what ended up being a 1v3 from Hot and Cold. So even though there was silliness, Wildcard seemed to have enough of a good showing, just not a lot of time. And if we saw how a roam can disrupt their plans in the previous round, Sam, same thing happened here, and the same thing might happen again.
You can see Wildcard most definitely do not want this to go to overtime. They are trying to make sure that they are aware of all the scenarios that could play out in front of them. There's some Twitch drones still to try and deal some positive damage towards the utility game of Beast Coast. Have Spirits around this top floor here too, and why wouldn't you? I'm gonna try and make sure to hold on to things and at least get in the way of Wildcard at the initial portions of their clear, try and slow things down. And that might actually work out in their favor here, Carter, as Wildcard have been kind of slow to the punch so far. But as soon as I say that, Vertical's going to start to get on the gas over here towards the bottom of square. We'll hop in on Archives. A nice angle that he's found, and nobody around to really threaten him either. You do have one over near the front desk space. Spiker, he's going to be able to take down Diffuser. Wildcard, they've opened things up for themselves, especially after that kill onto Gunner.
I love this. They've changed the pace. Wildcard, we've criticized them for being slow, for being old heads, for playing like it's 2021, and what have they done? They've spotted the gap, and they hit it. They saw nobody was in tellers and that there were isolated roamers playing around that area, but they could actually get from electrical to tellers without anybody from the defense realizing. And so Spiker from ATM, the IQ from electrical, able to not only pinch out the player playing inside of the tellers archives area, but get 2 more kills on top of that. And now you get the privilege of being slow. You have the privilege of dialing the pace back. Spirits is going for this flank, though. Is anybody watching? Spiker certainly not, but only 1 kill for the Frost. So now Vertical is aware, watching this position, but the longer Spirits remains alive, the more uncertainty he creates in the mind of Wildcard, and the more time he buys for Gavini to hold on, to be gifted 1v1s, and for Wildcard to make mistakes. Rampy falls. He spots another sprinting through that smoke. Vertical now down. Kansan's got to clutch another 1vx, but the diffuser works. Gavini's not read it. So as he hops off, the smoke reveals his position, but the Frost is wrapping around, and Spirits doesn't end the game. Kansan makes him fall. He finds the kill, but it's all coming up, Gavin. Our second OT game of the day. We cannot escape Playday 4 of the NAL.
Yeah, me too, Diffuser. Me too. Oh man, am I chained to this desk? I don't know.
We are locked in.
I can definitely tell you something. Not only do we have an OT once again, but I most definitely have to use the bathroom. So for my sake, let's really hope that somebody wins 2 in a row. But either way, I'm gonna be here the whole time. So just like this defense, I'm going to be holding out. You know what I mean? That was something that I was really not expecting once we got to that scenario. Wildcard have everything. I mean, absolutely everything going their way when it comes to the tail end of this round. I love especially that you highlighted the fact that they had the privilege, right? They had the privilege of trying to take their time, make sure that they know where Beast Coast are going with this. But the big issue is that things actually were going so unbelievably well that they really didn't have a thought in the back of their mind that there was going to be a flank. There was nobody that was dead for Wildcard to watch something like a flank drone, right? Everybody's trying to actively work the situation that's in front of them. And for Wildcard, everything starts to go awry, all because of Spirits. 1 kill on the back end there opens things up. It starts to pull pressure from Wildcard players, starts to get them to not pay attention to what's going on the site. Where we see so Gavini, of all people, we're not even gonna, Spirits could do Spirits things. We're just gonna let it rock, you know? But for Gavini to be able to open up that round for them and find those big kills, find those big moments at a time where they desperately needed them, that's why we're now inside of OT. Wildcard, at the moment where pressure was building for both of these squads respectively, they crumbled while Beast Coast thrived.
And he's back on Boss G ACOG. Vamos, boys. Going for the spawn peak. I like that the ironic thing is Beast Coast just have gone back to playing how they played yesterday on the defenses. They stopped turtling, playing this utility game that Wildcard were dismantling on these church arsenal attacks. And now they're like, I'm spawn peeking. I'm roaming. I simply don't care. Vertical's found one, though, and that'll force the Azami to fall back down the marble stairs once that Inox ping goes out. So active intel for the attack. Sure, still Beast Coast being forced back, and not much Wildcard can really do to capitalize off it with not a whole lot of cutoff angles held by them. Problem is, this isn't the Beast Coast that we saw in the first half of those defenses, because now with half the round to go, they might be sitting by these hatches. They're going to squeeze every second they can out of this roam.
They've done a fantastic job so far. Halfway through the round, Wildcard, they've at least been able to wrap around this mid-floor setup. But Spirits, out of nowhere, he dropped down the hatch, comes back up the stairs. He'll get a kill, but Kansan be able to at least pick him up. Vertical will get sussed out by a ghoul mine. They'll most definitely hear that over inside of open area. Vini going to be on the receiving end of this. 12 and 11. So many engagements for this man throughout this game. At least ends up on the positive side of them. See how this one goes. Different positions for him to try and worry about around this space, but with minimal time, Wildcard have got to find the accelerator.
Oh, they've not found the accelerator. They've just placed Akiba right in its path. Gaviti trying to hold on. Able to reload, but Bosco shoots Kansan in the back on the clear. He's making up for it, though, and it might not even matter. As Beast Coast's unearned aggression rears its head, Wildcard able to slap it down, not knock it out, but hold on for just a little bit, but only 20 seconds left. We know Beast Coast can just hold on these late round floods down the hatch. They've got the smoke canisters detonating right underneath Red. So as they drop, Hot and Cold waiting for them to cross. They make their way, but nobody's denying immediately. Hot and Cold's gone on Red, and Gunner rotating all the way through Vault. As he spotted, Spiker spots the position, but he might just win this round on time. But no, he won't. He'll win it on kills. Beast Coast match point as another late round execute comes up for the defense.
Oh, man. Beast Coast. It's been very hard fought this entire game, but now they sit at the precipice. Not only have they been able to take it to Wildcard Gaming, but at some moments it's really looked easy when it's came to the frag game. Able to put them to the sword constantly, and just another showcasing of that. Now for Wildcard, this is going to be a lock-in moment for them. 2 rounds in a row on both sides of the coin, respectively. Otherwise, it's going to be BC with a huge dub here. And really can't think about that in any other way, as so far it has not been the easiest start to their season.
2 regulation losses for both of these teams. 0 points for both of these teams. So while one is guaranteed to come away with a point, and in fact, actually after this game, we will not have any 0-point teams remaining in the standings. Everyone will have at least one. Does still mean that at this point it is Los, and then whoever loses this game tied for last, at least in points. I'll have to go down to the round differential and see how all of that breaks out. The Beast Coast just 1 round away from at least moving up to 2 points, which is 200% more than their current 0 points. As you move to Church and Arsenal, you got an OSA on the board. I remember that previous OSA round. And Sam, I don't know if you do, because while I remember it, I still am not quite sure what the hell happened.
I think that's the best way to put that round, actually. It was kind of a kerfuffle.
They're in garage. They're on marble stairs. Oh, the round's over.
It was something that was a little interesting, to say the least. As we definitely had some shenanigans going on around marble stairs. But now BC, well, Gunner, be able to traverse this next dimension as he works his way into the janitor space. To drone things out for Boss Goat over on the blue side. It's Discovery here. Beast Coast more than likely going to be in this Discovery stage, at least for a little bit. Wildcard really don't have too many happenings on the mid and top floor, so it should be fairly straightforward pass at. Spiker's already missed out and trying to stop that hatch from going down, so be locked out for the time being.
Locked out for the moment, but with a gajillion X-Kairos to open up these hatches. Hot and Cold more than able to do it. Spiker now will place some of those remaining Electroclaws. The small office hatch still a bit of a problem, but with 1 EMP and a Dream, be able to open it up with just a little bit of time spent. So all of these hatches now opened up. Now comes the real problem that Beast Coast need to counter. If they want to go for the server plant that everyone, Wildcard or Beast Coast, has...
What do you think Vertical thinks in that scenario? All those big loud noises, he doesn't hear a guy lay down prone in dirt and barbed wire, by the way, just to add that. And then he shoulder peeks and he's like, there's no way that's a guy, right?
And he's killed the OSA with no Talon shields used. Okay. Well, that's Sam, that's not a match point winning play if I do say so myself, but
I'll say it for you. Vamos, boys.
yeah, well, Gunner now falls. Bosco able to cut down another. Seems we are destined for 7-7 at this point, as this has been a very puzzling attack from Beast Coast, but the flashbang goes out, so if they're pushing down bottom marble, Rampy, easy pickings, good job. Spirit's able to find him as he actually rotates back into garage, so Spirit's adding a new dimension to this attack. Where's Hot and Cold moving? He wants to drop down this hatch, but all of the anchors are still in their positions, still in gold, still able to contest the CCTV, or excuse me, the locker's position. So what do? You try to drop, you try to push down marble, you try to push in through garage and hope the kills go your way, but nobody from Wildcard is biting. If this team can do anything, it is play their positions, play them passively, and wait for you to peek. Hot and Cold is close to getting this bomb down, but now Spirit's in garage is the only one left, so there's not much for him to do, and the plant's even denied. So we go in around 15, and it is anybody's game. They've not thrown server, I see.
Dude, not only that, but poor Gav. I don't know. I mean, you were obviously shoutcasting there, so like that's one of those things where you got a lot going on. You're trying to process a lot all at the same time. You know, this, that, and the third, right? Did you notice that Gav missed like a quarter of his magazine on a camera to then reload and step into the angle inside of a small office downstairs at that tail end? Did you see that?
Dude. I saw him shoot the camera, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
That poor man, dude. That was me trying to get back into Siege right there over these last 2 seasons. Just nothing going right. I tried to hit a default cam like 6 times, can't tag it.
Sam, he's
gunned down, man.
He's prone in front of the server stack. He's prone in front of vertical. They've not droned CCTV. They've not droned server. He has availed himself to the 416. Kansan has 22 kills.
Oh, yeah.
I'm losing it. Bosco's also on 13, by the way. Shout out. Shout out to Bosco.
Yo, big ups to my dog right there.
Yeah, that's the goat.
Shout out my slime, Bosco. 13, 9, and 8. But honestly, it really has been the Kansan show. Let's be real. Kansan's inside of his bag right now.
He's killing it. By it, I mean Beast Coast.
Yeah, I think that's actually the only thing he could be killing. He could be killing his teammates, technically speaking, but
I saw Bosco
would not have the same stat line. Yeah.
I saw Bosco cut down, and I think it actually was Kansan. It might have been somebody else. Either way, very good performances on Wildcard, but we're starting to reach peak silliness as we enter the hour of the Wolf. Round 14 now into 15. And it's by golly, a CEO defense. And again, around actually Beast Coast 1. Based off the back of this mirror setup, Gunner able to find 2 big picks as it's went relatively unanswered. And we actually have no Cali or Ash. So if you want to deal with this mirror window, you're going to have to find a way to shoot that canister or run up and punch it. But one of the big boons Beast Coast has in this defense, being those black mirrors, actually probably be relatively safe for a lot of this round.
I can't believe you forgot that name. It's literally a Netflix show.
I
There's so many context clues. But, you know. Oh, my.
Vertical has smoked Hot and Cold.
Wow. What a moment there for Vert. Trying to get on this gas here. Trying to wrap themselves around these angles on the top floor. Rampy with one of his own. BC, so far, not so good. They have not had a leg to stand on. In fact, a lot of their shores are having tsunamis headed their way to lose a lot of this fertile land.
What is going on?
He's going to get gunned down as well. These cross angles for WC, they're just eating them alive. Every time BC tries to move Carter, they're just getting gunned down. Another drone will discover Gavini. He should have another player working his way over. You can see him right on the other side of this wall. Cav doesn't know which angle is going to try and work its way in first. And it's a double window repel for WC. It's all up to Spirits. He might have 14 kills, but right now, he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of making it out of this round. He's stuck inside of checkers. Thinks he has somebody coming to Spiral, but Spiker rather, is waiting downstairs instead.
It's Jover.com, unfortunately. We did not do it, Joe. Spirits will get 1 kill. That's about it, I would assume. I mean, honestly, Trolling is sanctioned for Wildcard at this point. You've fallen back to square. I think Spiker has earned his right just to send it up the main staircase. Indeed he has. And Spirits looks away. Doesn't even get the impactless frag. And in max overtime, full 15 rounds. Wildcard emerged with 2 points and solidified Beast Coast and Los, though only potentially for the time being, in last place for now.
It's been a crazy day so far. It's either been overtime or max regulation so far. I'm trying to do the numbers in my head. Is that 30?
12, 13.
12 for this one. It's just not 12 for this. Oh my god. See, you messed me up.
Okay,
You
hold
messed-
on. Everyone, Sam, hold on. I got you, okay? 12 plus 12, 24.
Okay. All
Plus
right.
14,
Okay.
38, plus 15, 53.
53 rounds, man. Through 4 games.
Really?
That's something else. Also, Lynx, that's why you see the chessboard behind him, guys. So smart. Just so intelligent. He's got books. Books, too. He
Hey.
reads. You can tell.
I do. I read a lot of books, and frankly, I am absolutely taking the day off tomorrow from doing anything for how intense this day has been. We have one more game coming up after this break. It's Los' second game of the day, and if their first was anything to be demonstrated, we're going to overtime in that one right after this.
Of course, the game between 2 winless teams goes all the way to round 15. Of course, the game between 2 winless teams where we don't know how one team is attacking actually gets some attack wins. Of course, the game all the way at the very end of the day, for some reason, just decides to throw a couple curveballs in there, including a Boss G ACOG kill or something like that. This one was crazy. We finally get an answer to who walks away with a dub after not having a win so far, and we now know firmly who is at the bottom of the NAL through these first couple play days.
Don't be so excited about that.
I am just like, this game was all over the place, man. Whatever.
Actually, it wasn't a Boss G kill.
I said Boss G down, buddy.
No, you said Boss G kill.
I did not say kill. He downed him.
It was a
top
Boss G
square.
down, and then he one-tapped the brakes off the guy top
That
square.
part was funny.
So
when he
that was a
lost
nice
that.
shot.
Yeah.
What a wild game. I mean, safe to say, Sam and Carter are losing their minds on the cast.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, it's been a long, long day. And we saw some crazy stuff. You mentioned the Spirits play with the Boss G and a devious lick that he hit on the Wildcard side. But Wildcard also showed us that they have a bit of that ridiculousness in the tank as well, right? Yes, they threw a 2v5 and sent it to OT.
Oh, yeah,
but
they did.
But they were able to piece it together and take the win, finally getting on the scoreboard, as you said.
It was a very entertaining game nonetheless, especially from both sides on defense, because we didn't necessarily see just turtling from Wildcard. We saw a lot of proactive gameplay on defense and on attack, and the way that they were taking the map, isolating the picks, and then trying to go for the execute. Wildcard was really focused on that old guard of Siege, which on defense, we know that they were doing it, but it was on the attack that we struggled to see that light of day, and we saw it today, going for those plants, forcing to execute, and then once the bomb was down, or the diffuser was down, they forced the rest of the other players. They forced the rest of the Beast Coast.
You were looking for the way to take the threat into it. Look, a game between 2 winless teams, someone has to win. We knew that coming in, but that goes all the way to OT. What does that say about either of these 2 squads? That the 2 currently bottom squads, when this game started, let this go all the way to around 15. Yes, they're matched up very evenly against one another, but what does that say about their squad composition if they let it go all the way?
Listen, for Wildcard, I know they're going to be disappointed in the fact that this went to overtime. They had the regulation win and 3 points locked down.
Yep.
It slipped away. Assuming they had taken that in regulation, I think this would have been a lot simpler. We would have said, you know what? They made some very concrete changes, mostly on the attacking side, and they found some improvements, right? What were the big 3 we said when we came into this?
What are the fixes? Let's pull that up right now.
Exactly. We had the entry game, we had the mid-round, and their adaptability in the late round, right? That map control as well. And they did fix that. The first 3 rounds on attack, win, win, win. Why? They were able to maintain that map control.
Yes.
They were able to change things up in the late round and actually execute.
And there is some room to grow because they did have the map control, the adaptability was there, The entering wasn't anything crazy. They weren't necessarily
we'll
getting
talk about that
first
later,
pick,
yeah.
but once they got the control, they forced his executes, and then they made Beast Coast have to come fight them, find them, and that's where they were able to thrive because that's exactly where Wildcard wanted to play their battles.
It's also crazy how this game also gave us the new stage kill record, the new 2024 NAL kill record. Kansan dropped 24 big ones in this game, where the previous record was only 19. Dropping 20 is an accomplishment, but closing in on 25 in a game as back and forth as this one is still a bright spot for a Wildcard team that was all over the place.
It's not surprising because I think a lot of people remember Kansan's 1v4 on Sonic.
They remember
on
the bank play, yeah.
And of course, fitting situation that he gets the current kill record in this season on bank. He was playing the position, playing the support, playing behind his mirrors, playing in these angles, and he was able to just pretty much farm without being contested.
169 EPS. That
Nice.
is insane. Thank you, Jacob. 3-0 on the entries, though. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but they did make some entry changes. Overall, this was a much improved team when it came to a well-rounded structure. Did they have some hiccups? They absolutely did. We mentioned that 2v5. They let Gavini go absolutely beast mode on them and shut them down in a round that was absolutely theirs. And we saw similar stuff like that happen throughout.
We'll do a check-in on just that entry stat also as well while we're talking about this. So where does that lead in with where you were looking for their entries to be before this game started?
I was just going to say, maybe they let the 2v5 happen just so Kansan could pad his stats a little bit more.
Not a bad idea.
I was just going to add that.
Intentional, huh?
Maybe they were like, let's just let it happen.
They
see
already
how far
had
it could
20,
go.
though.
Yeah. So Kansan 3-0, Bosco 2-0, Vert 4-3. So
involved in a lot of duels here, and I like that they're trying to send somebody in and get him a bit more involved, especially on the attacking side. He was, rather the defensive side, he was successful right off the bat. He did slow down, though, and did die a few times when he switched over to that defense. But this is a team that's proving that they are making some changes, some things we asked for or theorized. This is moving in the right direction. I know they're going to be devastated, and I'm sure we'll hear about it from them, about the not getting 3 points. But the fact that they came out on this one on top and, you know, are not on the bottom of the leaderboard anymore is a good starting point.
Any points are good points at this stage for Wildcard, and because we weren't able to talk to them at any point in the stage prior, we now get to because they've got a dub. Rampy, talk to me, dude. I know it was a hard-fought W to finally get to this point, but just walk me through what these last few weeks have been like for Wildcard as a whole.
It's been like a lot of changes, you know. We're still a new team, like we've been practicing for a while, but we didn't really start practicing till the end of February. So we're still trying to figure things out on our attack, especially attack. But it's an overall just a lot of changes that we're, you know, week by week, day by day it's a process, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm confident that we will finish strong.
Well, Rampy, where would you say we are at in that process, kind of on a stage-by-stage basis, right? I mean, we talked about how not the start you wanted coming in, same troubles first 2 play days. You see yourselves now. Is this a midway point? Do you think you've reached kind of where you guys should be by the end of the stage?
No, this is not where we should be. We should not be throwing a 5v2 at all. There's too many mistakes that game to say we're at the point where we want to be at. But I mean, I can't really give you a percentage or anything. You know, it's just today was a lot better than the last 2 play days, and that's all we can really go on. It's game by game and round by round, and there was a lot of mistakes today, and you best believe we're going to be going over it after this interview.
And you say felt good overall? That's where you put it?
Yeah, you know, today, I mean, that game should never have went OT. We should have closed that out regulation 100%.
We can agree on that, yeah.
So yeah, you know, we're happy with the win. Hey, as long as we don't have the goose egg, there's 2 teams, or it could have been, or there's 3 teams that were 0-3. So I'm just happy we got a win on the board. So
very true, very true.
And you did say it went a lot better, and the defenses, we've been commending you guys on that there is hope in your defenses, but more specifically on the attacks, like you mentioned, were a little bit better today. Are there any more changes you guys are trying to, I guess, fit in going into week 3, or maybe a specific person that you really want to highlight on that entry that you guys are trying to just make a little bit more comfortable?
Honestly, it's not even like it's kind of just a little bit of everything. Where it's a lot of just small changes and a lot of I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it because I don't want to give out too much stuff, you know. But it's a lot of little changes that we need to be changing on our attack, and obviously it's like a play style thing too. We don't want to be the slow 20-second meta. Sometimes some rounds just happen to be that way, but we're not trying to be that way. So we're trying to find tweaks and fix everything we possibly can.
Well, if you had any message that you could deliver to the people who saw you from the old Mirage Core from last year, coming into Wildcard, you finally get your first win under the Big Red, new organization. Is there anything that you want to say to the fans before we let you go?
Yeah, I'm just happy that we didn't go winless today. So I'm just happy we got one win on the board, and we're looking to improve and be ready for next week. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Awesome, dude. Well said. Congratulations on the dub. We will see you next week. Take care, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
Rampy.
care.
Finally got on the board. And best part about this is because it's overtime, there isn't any team in the NAL with 0 points at this point. There's still teams without wins, but beastcoast finally actually gets something after their first 2 days of play.
And Lowe's got to overtime as well.
Lowe's got to
Easy.
overtime.
Got
That's
that.
yeah, it's all true.
Not
It was
bad.
a really humbling interview, too. Always talking with Rampy. He knows what needs to be done. You know, he's been at the top, and now he's trying to get back there. So it's nice to see a little bit of heart come out to him. He knows what they need to do to improve.
And he's not like thinking outside of himself or outside of this team. Very realistic approach, right? Their target today was get a win.
Yeah.
And yes, he expressed a little discontent, as we probably assumed, that they went into overtime. But at the end of the day, he was happy that they got the win. And I love that from him. I think if this entire team kind of adopts that mindset, healthy growth from here.
Well, Wildcard got their dub, but neither the Sonics or Los were capable of getting their dub from earlier on in the day. They play in our rescheduled match game 5 of day 4 right after the break, so don't go anywhere.